I think that's the only reason I'm so into it.
Yeah.
Also, here's the thing you got to know about talking about me. It's not ever funny, and it's something I like so much that it ends up me giving you the same arguments you've heard a billion times.
Yes.
Oh, it's Gigantopithecus, came over the Asian plain, it's a bipedal hominid, it's just, and then at the end, and every one of my friends have experienced it, Harlan Williams just experienced it when I was on his podcast. Anytime I talk about Bigfoot, it ends up with me just going, please, Joe, can you just say it's maybe a possibility? Like, that's what it always ends up being.
Yeah.
You said it's, I remember you one time going, there's nothing out there. Yeah, didn't you say that about Bigfoot?
Hunters don't see it. That's why I don't believe in it.
Some hunters do.
No, not many.
People that see it are usually loggers, hunters, natives, people that are out in the woods.
There's another problem. Another problem is dusk. You see things at dusk or at dawn. It's very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Bears walk on two legs all the time. I have personally watched bears walk on two legs, and if I didn't know any better, and if it was a dark environment, like it was dusk, you barely can see, I would think it's Bigfoot.
Right.
Yeah. But I do think Bigfoot existed.
Yeah.
There's some insane number of Native American words for Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
Sasquatch is just one of them. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of Native American words for this one animal that's fake, but all the other words they have are for real animals. They don't have a bunch of dragons. They don't have like mythical creatures in Native American mythology, but they do have this one giant man thing that definitely existed.
At some point.
At 100%, Gigantopithecus was a real animal. It was 8 to 10 feet tall, bipedal hominid. It was a huge gorilla-looking primate that died off somewhere around 100,000 years ago, but they don't know really for sure.
100,000?
Yeah, but they don't know for sure. The thing about it is, it's like, if you only find fossils from 100,000 years ago, you could assume that that this animal at least lived then. But you don't know when it went extinct.
Right.
You might find some new fossil like 10 years from now. They might find some new site. And wait a minute, these are 20,000 years old. Or these are 30,000 years old. Or these are 50,000 years old. But either way, anatomically identical human beings have been around for 500,000 plus years. Maybe even more. So, or similar human beings. So then we definitely interacted with them.
Yeah.
Or they were around when we were around.
I think they're still around. I think there's hundreds, maybe thousands of them. That's what I believe. I think they're in caves or something. Or maybe it's...
You know what the problem with that is?
What?
They're too big. The amount of food that they would need to eat, you'd have to be grazing all day long. See, if you're Bigfoot...
Posted in the Journal of Zoology this month.
If it's there, could it be a bear?
They're saying it's black bear, American black bear.
Yeah, American black bear that stands up.
But even little kids
Yeah.
would know the difference between a monkey and a bear.
No. First of all, let me tell you something. If you're in the woods and you're in a heightened state because you're looking around, you don't know what's out there, it's all thick woods, it's weird. Woods are weird.
Yeah.
And you see something, you could trick your brain. I saw a squirrel, and for like 2 or 3 seconds, I thought it was a wolf.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
real.
Wolf?
That's real
It's
between here.
I'm seeing something moving in between thick trees, and I see gray fur. I'm like, oh my God, is that a wolf?
Yeah.
Because there's wolves out there.
Right.
I'm in Canada. I'm like, oh no, it's a fucking squirrel. What the fuck is wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with me?
Shoot it.
Yeah. It's like people see what they want to see.
Yeah.
And the problem is you get something into someone's head, a mythological thing, whether it's a UFO or whether it's Bigfoot. I think the world is way more slippery than we like to think. And I think there's states of consciousness that people can achieve during high anxiety levels, definitely during the use of psychedelic drugs.
Yes.
Sometimes during weird states in their life, like near-death experiences, loss of a loved one, extreme emotion, a lot going on, a lot of anxiety and fear, like you would have if you're in the woods.
Sure.
And then you
edge.
see a light across the sky. It might have been just a meteorite.
Right.
But you're in the wrong headspace to
Yeah.
see that meteorite. And you just freak.
Yeah.
And maybe for a brief moment, you can see something that's been there all along.
You know how defeated I am right now. I just want you to tell
Bigfoot?
me, like, dude, there's some
I wanna
crazy,
believe in Bigfoot.
crazy stuff out there.
I've interviewed a lot of Bigfoot people.
Yeah.
I had one joke I used to do about Bigfoot. Here's what you don't find when you go looking for Bigfoot. Black people. You're more likely to find Bigfoot than you are black people looking for Bigfoot.
Not out there.
It's a bunch of unfuckable white guys out camping. That's like
that is the thing.
It's a community of people that want to believe something that there's zero evidence for, and they're fucking locked in.
Yeah, they're hitting a tree with a stick, going like, "We're gonna wait for a knockback," and it's different Bigfoot researchers hitting a different tree, talking back to them.
Yeah, it's like if you go to public land elk hunting, there's a bunch of people elk calling. You think, I heard an elk. It's a dude with a tube.
Another guy. Elk, two men doing elk calls.
Exactly, to each other.
Crossed a ridge.
That literally happens.
I bet.
It does, 100%. It's one of those things where I wish it was real. I wish
too.
Bigfoot was real. Bobcat Goldthwait believes.
Yeah, he loves it.
He's all in. Did you ever watch Willow Creek?
I did, and it pissed me off because at the end it turns out to be, I'm going to spoil the Willow Creek, but at the end it's just a bunch of like hillbillies out there killing and blaming it on Bigfoot, basically. That's like at the end is
Wait a
like
minute, which one are you talking about?
You don't really. There's no
Goldthwait's
Bigfoot
movie.
I think that's what the end is. That like it's just some crazy people that live in the woods. It's not really a Bigfoot.
Is that true?
I think that's the end of Willow Creek.
I don't remember how it ends.
Because they kind of have this one kind of like Blair Witch like shot, and it's just a bunch of mountain people, which is the scariest thing you'll find in the woods. People.
Well, that's that.
People that want to be off that grid. People
that documentary Sasquatch. Did you ever see that? It's like a documentary series.
Yeah, and it turns out just to be the cartel.
Yeah.
Not the cartel, but like weed people.
Weed people killing other.
Blaming it on a Bigfoot, framing it to look like a Bigfoot's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they killed somebody, and apparently when marijuana was, when they were growing it up there, these hippies started arming themselves.
Yeah.
And then they had rival gang wars with people that would come in and try to steal their crop.
Sure.
So they started shooting at each other, killing each other.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about.
Or also like, some cute girl that's like, oh, I'm going to clip weed all summer and make $5,000 and hang out with other potheads who you don't realize how terrible that job is.
Well, you're involved in an illegal business.
Yeah.
And the cartel's in that business. Like, I had a friend who found a cartel grow operation on a ranch. Yeah, they were
scary.
He works on a ranch in California, and he was doing his thing out in the ranch, and he found some water piping, and he followed the water piping, and it was pretty considerable distance, and they found this grow op. So this guy had diverted water, or many guys. They didn't see the humans that did it. They took their shit, and then they never caught the guys, I don't think. But they would set up these camps in they would go to national forests. Apparently it's big in Northern California, where they go deep in the woods. They backpack in, and then they have a massive grow op on public land.
Yeah.
And they just get it till the time it's ready to harvest, and then they get out of there. But if someone interrupts that, if they get in the middle of that, they'll kill them.
Right.
Like, these are cartel guys.
Yeah.
So my friend John Norris, he's been on the podcast before, he was a game warden. And he found a creek that had been redirected. And he thought, maybe a farmer had did this. What's going on? Maybe someone put an illegal dam on this. They follow it, and they find this crazy grow op with the cartel and guns. And so he winds up, instead of just being a game warden, now all of a sudden he's got a tactical team with attack dogs.
Crazy.
And they're running in fully armed with flak jackets on, having gunfights with the cartel in the woods over weed.
Yeah. I will say that's the most frustrating part about the Bigfoot subject is you got guys who really I think an ape could, a pod of apes could live out here and this thing. And so you'll start to, guys like me will be like, yeah, this makes good sense. And then they'll get a Native American to talk about it. And he'll be like, it's the magic man of the woods. And you're like, no. And they're like, he disappears. He flies. He can stop the rain. And you're going, this is, gosh dang it. We were making real good ground here, making arguments for it to be an ape.
I think the Native Americans are right. I think that's what it is.
Some sort of paranormal woods thing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think it's listen, if let's imagine that states of consciousness can interface with other things that are around us all the time that we don't necessarily see. Now, we know that's true if you take psychedelics, and we know that psychedelics are produced in the brain. I can imagine a moment where you are in such a state that you could see something that you would not be able to see under normal conditions. It's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm not married to it, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. Now, if that is what we're seeing with UFOs, if what we're seeing is our future, is if what we're seeing with those beings is the eventual shape that human beings will take as evolution progresses. We become these genderless, little spindly things
Big
with
brains.
giant heads.
Yeah.
Flying spaceships with our minds. That kind of makes sense to me. If that makes sense, why wouldn't I be able to also see what we used to be, or what we could have been, or what other things used to live with us? And maybe it's almost like a ghost, almost like a memory that you
like
can access of a different timeline, a different dimension where this thing does exist. And that's why it's so elusive and it comes and goes, because it's not a real material thing. It's a construct of the human psyche. But these people that are seeing it, like, they might even literally be seeing footprints. It might literally leave footprints. It might exist for brief moments.
Makes sense. Passing in and out of this dimension kind of thing?
There's so many wacky stories about it. So then you have to apply the wacky stories to human psychology and say, okay, people are in a heightened state. They're in the woods. They're alone. They're nervous. There's cats out there and fucking bears. So you're kind of freaking out already. So you're in this like weird mind state already where it seems like more things are possible out there because there's no one to help you.
Right.
There's no city. There's no hospital.
Can't call the cops on a Bigfoot.
You got no fucking cell phone signal, and you're out there alone. Like, there's so many possibilities. It's terrifying. And that, to me, makes sense. Like, if there's a mindset that can be achieved, it's a mind state that can be achieved where you interact with things that aren't there all the time, like UFOs.
Right.
That would be when it would happen.
Right. Well, there's tons of like interesting stories that you'll just read about, like a thing just walking behind the tree, and it's not. But if it was a massive, 10-foot thing, you know, you'd probably be able to see it come out on the other side of that tree, and you see a lot of those kind of. Or I read a lot of those kind of stories, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck that.
Yeah, it could be that, but it could also be black bears. It could be that you're just seeing things because they're freaking out.
Yeah.
Bears freak you out, man. You see a bear in the wild, it freaks you out. And if you see a bear in between trees, you can just convince yourself that it's something, and then your brain plays tricks on you. The memory is a slippery bitch.
Yeah, I know.
Especially under heightened circumstances like that, like in the woods. Your memory's weird.
And it's more exciting to believe that it's real. So that's what you wanna, you know. That's my biggest. I think what I'm holding on to so much is that, like, I think it's so boring if we just know all the stuff on our planet.
I don't think we do.
But that's my point. It's way more exciting to think, there's Bigfoots and there's...
Yeah, pterodactyls is one of my favorites.
Wolfman or Dogman or Mothman or any of these kind of like exciting things. I want to believe that.
Well, you know about that Hobbit man that they found on that island of Flores?
No.
No?
A Hobbit man.
Good. Yeah, this is a good one for you. This is a thing that absolutely lived alongside people. And I think they don't know the timeline of this fucker either. But they think it might have been as recently as like 50,000, 30,000 years ago. And they were little tiny people. 3 foot tall, like almost like ape-like creatures. That's what they looked like.
Oh, yeah, see? Like a little baby Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, like little hobbits, man. And they lived on this island. And they were like a different branch of the human chain that lived alongside Homo sapiens.
Yeah, you see that? You just think you see a juvenile Bigfoot or something.
Yeah. Well, there's people that have cited these things in other parts of the world still to this day. They still claim that they exist.